Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Edith and I am a holistic health coach. I specialize in plant-based nutrition. However, I do not only work with plant-based individuals, so you do not need to be vegan to work with me. And if you are interested in working with me on a one-on-one coaching basis, just send me an email and I will reach out to you. Or I will get back to you. So my email will be in the description box below. And I do offer a free consultation just so that we can get to know each other and see if we would be a good fit to work together. Okay, so now let's get into this video. So this video is all about getting to the root cause of your chronic health condition. I shared in a recent Instagram post that my belief is that if you're struggling with a chronic health condition, that the root cause is going to be at least one, if not all three of these things. And by a chronic health condition, I'm referring to some sort of an ailment that you're dealing with, and it could be either physical, such as digestive disorders, arthritis, eczema, or mental health conditions, so like depression, anxiety, things like that. So everything that I'm going to be sharing is going to apply to all types of chronic health conditions, okay? And so I wanted to come on YouTube to share because here I can share more at length, whereas on Instagram, you're very limited in terms of how much you can share. So if you're struggling with a chronic health condition, that means your body is sending you signals that something is off in your life. So it's essentially your soul, your spirit sending you this information through your physical body, through your avatar, because that's how they will get our attention, that something is wrong in our physical existence, okay? And so the first thing that I think is the root cause of the condition is that your body has reached its toxin load limit. And what I mean by that is we all have a limit in terms of how much toxicity our physical bodies can hold. And it's primarily the liver, by the way, that is holding the toxins in your physical body. And once the liver has reached its limit of these physical toxins that are irritating it, you will develop some sort of a disease. So some sort of a disease will manifest in your physical body. And in terms of toxins, I'm referring to chemicals, viruses, any kind of pathogen, toxic fragrances, anything that is toxic to the physical body. So things like DDT, things that are being sprayed in the sky. You know, I don't want to get too into depths of that. If you've gotten a jab, so any kind of chemical exposure, the liver is going to be working for you on your behalf, and it's unfortunately going to be storing it within itself, okay? And I will go more into depth on how this works when I'm making a video just on the toxicity of the body. But for now, I'm just gonna say that the liver will only be able to purge these toxins when you are eating in a manner in which the liver feels safe. So once you reach your toxin load, you have to change your diet, okay? And this doesn't mean just quote unquote eating healthy. Like, you actually have to cleanse, okay? Of course, improving your diet, just eating healthy is going to help and it's going to start to move the needle, but the liver will not be able to purge the toxins that are deep rooted within it until you are able to cleanse. Okay, and I'll go over these specific cleansing practices in an upcoming video specific to the toxin load. Okay, but if you have reached your toxin load, and it's you know what, in our modern world, most people have, unfortunately. If you're not already living this really health conscious lifestyle and you're dealing with any kind of a chronic condition, I guarantee this first root cause is definitely one of your problems, okay? So unfortunately, we live in a world where we take in toxins just by going outside. So our air isn't as clean as it needs to be, our water isn't as clean as it needs to be, and most likely you are eating foods that are not clean as well, okay? So even if you're eating plant-based foods, They could still be sprayed with toxic chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, glyphosate, all sorts of irritants that are going to add to this toxin load in your physical body. Okay, so number one, you've got to be able to release these toxins, and definitely improving your diet is a must. And then implementing some sort of a cleansing protocol is also a must. So what I typically do is I like to do a cleanse at least once a quarter, but maybe even twice a quarter, to allow my liver to purge and release these pathogens, these toxins, these chemicals. Because if I don't do that, then I start to feel aches and pains or weight gain or whatever it may be. Each person is going to see things manifest differently in their physical body, and that depends on a variety of other conditions that I'm not going to go into right now. So number one, if you're dealing with a chronic health condition, it means that your toxin load limit has been reached. So that could be your root cause. And like I said, all three of these root causes could apply to you. And number one is probably the most common, I would say, in the modern world, unless you're a child. But even if you're a child, you could be born with pathogens because they get passed on through the genome when you are conceived. Everyone, in my opinion, needs to improve their diet and implement some sort of a cleansing routine so that they can stay on top of eliminating these toxins and pathogens that are being stored in the liver. Okay, now number two, I think is also very common and is also very relevant to just about everybody on the planet, especially if you were born before 2012, and definitely if you're born before the year 2000. Okay, and so that is going to be the second root cause that I'm referring to, is that you might have some trapped emotions in your physical body and your energetic body from trauma that you have experienced. Okay, so unfortunately, most of us experience trauma in these lives. And by trauma, that could be a variety of different things. So it could be maybe you were abandoned as a child, maybe your parents passed away, maybe you were abused, maybe you've had tons of toxic romantic relationships, maybe you have a lot of fears around a specific subject matter because of an experience that you might have had. Maybe you were put down as a child, and maybe you never addressed these things. Most of us were not taught to address these things when they happened, these traumatic experiences when they happened. Most of us weren't taught to address them and to release those emotions at the time that they occurred. And so what happens is we store that trauma in our physical and energetic bodies because we're afraid to feel it, because it's painful and we don't have the tools oftentimes to feel it, okay, and to face it head on when it happens. And so that emotional trauma will get trapped in your subconscious mind. So you might not even be aware, you might not even remember an experience that you had as a child, but it's wreaking havoc on your health today. And I'll go more into depth in that video when I cover root cause number two. But this is extremely common, and most of us have these types of trapped emotions in our physical bodies. And essentially it's kind of like an onion. So you're peeling back layers of the onion, and every time you've healed one trapped emotion, there's another one lurking behind it. What we call this in my line of work is shadow work, or some people call it inner work. And what I refer to shadow work is facing these traumas. So peeling back that onion and looking at that experience and acknowledging that it happened, and kind of sitting with those feelings, sitting with those emotions, and trying to figure out, why did that happen? You know, what did it teach me? And allowing to feel those emotions, and then recognizing that, hey, I'm still here. I'm still a functioning human. That experience, maybe it did affect me. Maybe it's part of why I have this physical ailment now, but it didn't destroy me. I am stronger than this experience. I can heal from this experience. So there's a variety of different ways to heal these traumas. and I can go more into depth in that upcoming video, and I definitely go into depth when I'm working with someone. However, just by acknowledging that you have had this experience, sitting with it, perhaps journaling about it, is a really great way to let it go. And then once you're able to let these things go, you'll notice an improvement right away. You might feel even lighter, and you might even recognize in your current experience if there's a relationship that's triggering this for you, that maybe that's why it's come to the surface now. And just changing the way that you deal with that person and how you engage in that relationship can also help you heal this. And then another way that you can heal trapped emotions is by working with someone who's experienced with releasing trapped emotions from your fascia. So your fascia, the part of your physical and energetic body, everything is energy. And so even a trapped emotion is energy. So in quantum physics, they can show you that these trapped emotions, they're kind of like a sphere, like a ball, and they will be trapped in a certain area. So like, for example, I've had them in my shoulder. So I've had a significant amount of shoulder pain. And when I've worked with a fascia release expert, she was able to tune in to that sphere. She could feel it, and it even spoke to her. And so she was able to relay that information to me and tell me like what experience that may have come from. And then I think back and I'm like, oh yeah, I did have, a terrible experience, at this stage in my life. And yeah, maybe I didn't process it completely. And so that experience then lodged into my shoulder. And whenever I'm stressed, or if something triggers that past trauma, like maybe a similar experience happens, or somebody's telling me about their experience that's similar to the experience I had, then maybe the shoulder will start to ache and hurt for me. And then when you're working with one of the specialists, they're able to physically manipulate area of the body, and they'll tell you to breathe in a specific manner to help release it from your body. And of course, you're also thinking about that experience and able to process it and release it in that way. And so the next time that you're in a situation where something similar could happen, you learn that you can deal with it in a different way than you did in the past, so that it doesn't create a problem for you again and into the future. Okay, so that's root cause number 2. So just to refresh, if you're dealing with a chronic health condition, root cause number 1 is probably an excess of toxins in your physical body, and cleansing your physical body through diet is needed to heal. And then root cause number 2 could be that you had a physical trauma or an emotional trauma in your experience in this life that you weren't able to process at the time that it occurred, and it lodged in your physical body, and it's now creating pain for you. And then root cause number 3 is you have a dysregulated nervous system. This could be an excess of root cause number 2. So if you've had a lot of stress and disappointment and trauma in your life, and you weren't able to deal with it in time, over time, this will cause your nervous system to be dysregulated, which means that you have been living in a fight or flight mode, which also means you're in survival mode. So this is like you're in kind of a state of fear, and you've been living in a state of fear for a long time. Now, I definitely relate to this. I would say I've been living in fight or flight for at least a decade in my life, and maybe my entire life. So in addition to, so this is kind of the difference between root cause number 2 and root cause number 3. So in addition to experiencing a lot of trauma in your life, root cause number 3, the dysregulated nervous system, can also come from your physical or emotional needs not being met over a long period of time. And so what I mean is, maybe you've been living a financial scarcity situation for an extended amount of time. So the difference here is in root cause number 2, I was referring more to specific incidents, whereas in this point that I'm trying to make, the financial scarcity would be spread out over a long period of time. So not just like, this week I didn't have enough for groceries, but, for years or months or however long it's been, I have struggled to pay the rent, or I have struggled to pay off my debts, or I never have anything for my wants, just my needs. And so over time, that can really wear on you, okay? That can really, really be uncomfortable. And so that's how your nervous system becomes dysregulated, is over time, okay? Whereas when you have trauma, which also could be over time, but in many cases it's more acute, like it's happened on specific occasions. Whereas, and if it just happens in one occasion, it's likely not going to dysregulate your nervous system, but when it happens over time, it will dysregulate your nervous system. And signs of this could be you're always in a hurry, you're anxious, you become depressed, you're afraid of the future because of how many times you've been disappointed in the past. I definitely relate to all of these conditions. I've definitely had my nervous system dysregulated. However, because I've been an expert in fixing root cause number one, my diet's been so good that even though I've had issues in root cause number 2 and root cause number 3, I've been highly functioning. So most people, they look at me or they meet me, they have no idea that I've had a dysregulated nervous system. So the dysregulated nervous system it'll show up in either depression, anxiety, fear of the future, you always being in a hurry. And then if you don't fix this is going to contribute to some sort of a physical illness, in addition to the mental health ailments like depression, anxiety, fear, all of that. Likely also, if you're not dialed in with your diet, you're likely going to have a physical illness manifest if you do not regulate your nervous system. And so ways that you can regulate your nervous system are finding support, being able to talk to someone about these issues that you are feeling, that you've been experiencing. You've admitted it to yourself. So first you have to recognize, hey, something's wrong. I'm not enjoying life. I'm in a hurry. I'm afraid. I'm not able to manifest the things that I'm wanting to call into my existence. So first you're admitting it to yourself, you're realizing it, and then finding some sort of a support network in which you're able to articulate these things. So either finding a therapist, through your spiritual practice, your friends and family, if you're able to speak to someone safely about it, that will definitely help. And then slowing things down. And this is something I've really struggled with because I live alone and I have to provide for myself. So I have to be in my masculine energy all the time. I don't get to relax and get into my feminine energy. So it's been very difficult for me to slow down, and it might be for you as well. But what I do to implement this is I create little breaks for myself. So that could be like little self-care breaks throughout the day. And for me, what that looks like is going on a morning run, doing a strength training workout, going for an evening walk. So oftentimes it's movement. Spending time in nature is very, very important. Connecting to the elements. So doing a little bit of sun gazing, putting your bare feet on the ground, so grounding, earthing, those things are very beneficial. And then just trying to find time for play. And so this has been really challenging for me, but one thing I do is I get on the swing. So like, you go to the park and there's a swing set. I absolutely love to get on the swing. So since I was a kid, I've loved to swing. That is something that helps me regulate my nervous system. It helps me to slow down. It helps me to be in the mode of play because I feel like I'm playing like I'm a kid when I'm up in the air, swinging back and forth. So I make sure that I create these little breaks for myself midday. And I like to spread them out throughout my workday. So not only is that beneficial for my mental health, but it's also beneficial for your physical health to have these little movement breaks throughout the day. For you, it might be different. Maybe you like to paint. Maybe you like to draw. Maybe you're artistic like that. If that brings you joy, go ahead and do that. It's going to help regulate your nervous system. Maybe you like to sing. Maybe you like to listen to music. Whatever it is that gets you out of the fight or flight and into a state of joy, into a state of peace, into a state of love, into a state of play. All of those things are going to help regulate your nervous system, okay? So finding ways to get more of that into your daily, weekly routine, okay? So again, if you are dealing with a chronic health condition, something that is constantly bothering you, that is keeping you from living your best life, the root cause of that is either one, or all three of these. One, you have reached your toxin load in terms of your physical body, which means your body is full of chemicals, viruses, pathogens, fragrances, DDT, anything like that. And you have to cleanse to heal and remove those pathogens from your body. Number two, you've had trauma in your life, and you weren't able to express those feelings. You weren't able to release that trauma at the time. You weren't able to process those feelings. You didn't feel safe. You didn't have the tools. And so that experience has lodged in your physical and energetic body, and it's creating pain in your physical body. Okay, so that's number two. Number three is, over time, your nervous system has become dysregulated through a long period of time of being unhappy, your needs not being met. You've got to address all of these things. You've got to first figure out which issue is the most important, and then you've got to go down the list and start working on them. I definitely recommend starting with the diet, because starting with the diet is definitely going to move the needle right away, and everyone needs to improve their diet. Okay, so this applies to everybody. And I think I'm going to end it here just because I don't want it to be too long. Let me know if you found this helpful. Let me know if you do want me to make a video on all three of these subjects where I can go a little bit more in depth. But I just wanted to share that when I'm working with a client, I will cover all of these aspects, all of these potential root causes to somebody's physical ailment, because the goal is to improve your quality of life, improve your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being, so that you can be the best version of yourself for you and your loved ones, and so that you can manifest what you're desiring. Because if you've got some sort of a chronic condition, it's going to be very difficult to call in the experiences and the goals that you would like to experience and achieve in this life. So this is really important stuff. If you want to work with me, again, my email will be in the description below, and I'll be sharing more of this type of content to come. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to get back to you. And I just want to leave you by telling you that you can heal. Okay, so whatever it is that's been bothering you, I promise there is a solution, and all you have to do is have the courage and at least take one step forward, and then the next step will reveal itself. And so just don't give up, and have hope that you can improve the quality of your life, and whatever it is that is ailing you, you're stronger than that. You're stronger than that, and you can heal, and you can recover, and you can become the best version of yourself. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please check out my description box below it. I have all of my affiliate partners as well, with discount codes and links, and anytime you use any of my links or discount codes, it really does help support me, and I'm truly grateful because it allows me to continue to do this work. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.